Hello everyone and now welcome to a game while cameras going crazy, a game between TBCBM going up against LawLiet. This game, well, taking place here on Autumn Leaves. Opening things up, we see LawLiet spawning as the yellow orc over here on the top right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, on the bottom left, we are looking at TBCBM spawning as the blue undead. Undead versus Orc in a 1v1 matchup as things are getting underway. We are looking at a Crypt, Altar of Darkness, opening up Ziggurat. Are we going to be going for Ghouls or a Death Knight? Most likely Death Knight in this tournament match, as players generally try not to deviate, or I guess Eastern players try not to deviate too much from these particular strategies during these times. All right. Meanwhile, during the higher stakes game. Meanwhile, over here on the top right, it looks like LawLiet is going to be going for an early war mill, and then delaying this barracks a little bit. So we'll be going for Farseer Headhunters. Farseer Headhunters, pretty standard, going up trying to take down eventual Death Knight and Crypt Fiends, as the Tauren Chieftain and secondary heroes do make their way out. Death Knight, no surprise here. There's that crypt. There is a tomb of relics for that Rod of Necromancy. And now a graveyard is in fact in play. So it is going to be Crypt Fiends with the Death Knight coming in from TBCBM. Meanwhile, LawLiet over here on the top right hand side of the map. No, excuse me. Yeah, LawLiet on top right hand side of the map. No Voodoo Lounge as of yet. So the teching and timing to tier 2 is going to be very interesting coming in from both of these players. I believe Undead may actually be able to get a decent start or a standard timing to tier 2. Night Pyre, I am doing quite alright. Thank you for tuning in, as the Farseer, well, is going to be popping on out here. Alright. Where are we going to be going next? Farseer going after the Acolyte here. A little bit of damage being done. Headhunter should start to be trained up as well. There is a Headhunter right there. Burrow now being placed down. And we should be getting up to maybe 3 to 4 early Headhunters during this engagement portion of the match. Alright, Farseer finishes off the Acolyte, takes it down with no problem. Meanwhile, Death Knight going after this creep camp with skeletal minions should be able to clear it up fairly fast. The Death Knight taking quite a bit of damage here. But wanting to keep the skeletal minions alive for at least a little while longer, hoping that they're able to dish out that damage. The skeletal warrior, even though they are lower on, even though they are timed life, you want to make sure that they are attacking for as much as that timed life as possible to get the most use out of them. If you can have a skeletal minion either die at the last second or die with like 10 or less hit points, that is actually the best thing to do with these skeletal minions if they're constantly attacking. Headhunter now out on the field. The second Headhunter will be joining in on the battle. That is a lot of skeletal minions to get cleaned up here, as we are now looking at a couple of Forest Wolves trying to engage against the Death Knight back on Blight. Crypt Fiends now out here on the battlefield as well. It is going to be skeletal minions versus those spirit wolves. They're the ones with the normal damage, trying to get damage onto the ranged units. Meanwhile, the skeletal minions trying to get damage onto the headhunters. Both sides playing this weird game here, but it seems like LawLiet is doing a better job kiting his opponent's units and then dishing out the damage. However, as I say that, the headhunters taking a couple of pokes as well. Hey, Chaos Frost, how you doing? Skeletal minions still engaging back and forth. Headhunters coming in from behind. More skeletal minions will get picked apart here. And so far, beautiful micro coming in from LawLiet. Meanwhile, TBCBM now trying to retreat back here. All of the skeletal minions have pretty much been cleaned up. Death Knight has a slight advantage because of doing creeping, but and also has a circlet of nobility. But overall, I believe LawLiet has been able to deal more damage to his opponent as by just constantly picking off some of those units. A new Rod of Necromancy has been picked up already. Deathquail trying to go after one very low hit point Headhunter. Farseer trying to get in the way. This could be very bad news indeed, as the Death Knight can finish it off with no real problem. Farseer was hoping to perhaps get a deny kill right there, but the Deathcoil animation a little bit faster than the auto attack of that Farseer. Coming over here to the bottom left, well, TBCBM, knowing that there is a supply of corpses over there by the graveyard, able to get in, get another charge of Rod of Necromancy going. Meanwhile, the Crypt Fiend down to 126 hit points has to be very careful. Meanwhile, the Farseer trying to perhaps pick up the item or do something here. There's a Death Coil saving the Crypt Fiend, and now picks up a Gauntlets of Ogre Strength +3. Farseer sitting at level 1, very close to level 2. Death Knight at level 1, very close to level 2 as well, wanting to get to level 2 easily for that Unholy Aura, but so far has not been able to capitalize until now. Death Knight is at 2, Farseer is at 1.9, should easily get to 2 off of this creep camp, finishing off this Ogre, Magi, and all of these remaining units. Wand of Mana Stealing being left behind right there. Not the wand item he wanted, but taking a big item, big charge from that Death Knight right there. And now should be able to poke back around. We are looking at the Murloc Flesh Eaters getting in a little bit of poison damage across some of the other units. A Death Coil may go down. No, Skeletal Maiden's able to finish it off. Death Knight getting up to 62 mana. And so far, this has been a beautifully played game here as the Headhunter now down to 33 hit points, able to micro back. TBCBM literally getting every ounce of usefulness out of these Headhunters. So many Headhunters low on hit points, not 100 hit points between the two of them. And this, if you remember, Trolls have more regeneration than normal. So not improved regeneration yet, but yes, Trolls have better regeneration than normal. And yeah, they must have all been below 50 hit points between the three of them at some point. Lich now out here onto the battlefield though, and with that slow blast debuff after that Frost Nova, those Headhunters may get caught out in the open. However, well, beautiful aggression here as the Headhunter now, well, walks and reveals where the Lich actually is. Alright, this could potentially be a problem. Frost Nova onto the Farseer. Farseer does have a Health Stone and get regenerating that hit point rather quick, and now trying to stay away from that Lich. How much damage more can be done as a low hit point Headhunter right there. Death Knight trying to perhaps run on in, getting a little bit of damage. There's a Rod of Necromancy charge coming back across as the Farseer, well, still doing quite a bit of damage here. And that Health Stone, well, adding a little bit of insurance if that Farseer does get focused down. Lich trying to get in some damage somewhere. Tauren Chieftain doesn't have any more healing salves, surprisingly, using them all up on those Headhunters as the Lich is now trying to retreat back. TBCBM a little bit worse for wear after those fights so far, sitting at 32 supply compared to LawLiet's 40 some odd supply there. Tauren Chieftain now making his way back off to the top right, picking up some, well, rearranging some of those items. Going to go ahead and get a healing salve going as the Tauren Chieftain looks to get to level 2. Level 2 for Endurance Aura, incredibly important, and, well, LawLiet is in the driver's seat of this game. Level 2 Death Knight, level 1 Lich going up against level 2 Farseer, level 2 Tauren Chieftain. Army size still belongs to, well, to the Orc. However, we are already at, well, Black Citadel, and we already have that Orb of Corruption on that Lich. That is always a sudden power spike in how effective the undead army is, as that Lich now goes after, well, the Force Troll Trappers and a last of these remaining units. Alright, Tauren Chieftain getting ready to engage, has double Gauntlets of Ogre Strength +3, already at 1,000 hit points, even though it is sitting at level 2. Farseer sitting at level 2, as it looks as Creeping is going to be going more towards the Tauren Chieftain. Tauren Chieftain trying to finish things off. Oh, gets the Devotion Aura right there and is now in retreat. Tauren Chieftain now trying to act as a little bit of deterrent. Farseer unable to deny that one Headhunter there, as both sides still fighting their way through. Farseer continuing to battle up, more Spirit Wolves coming down into position, as the Tauren Chieftain now looks to back up, now holding onto that Healthstone, since the Farseer doesn't seem to need it just quite yet. Frost Nova goes down, slowing down a couple of Headhunters, a couple more creeps joining in on the battle. Lich trying to finish off some of those units, and unable to do so as the Tauren Chieftain gets in the way. Death Coil coming down, as we are looking at, well, Lich with what Unholy Frenzy, very fast auto attack there. Tauren Chieftain still leading the charge here at 215 hit points, trying to go after all of these units here, but at every Frost Nova, every bit of additional damage making it a little bit more difficult, as the Farseer does have Chain Lightning, but doesn't have any real easy or simple targets to use with it. 41 supply after compared to 41 at TBCBM, well, able to claw his way and get close back to even. But a beautiful play by LawLiet, using using the tiny Great Hall, and now already has an expansion set up. The downside is going to be he only has 13 workers, so he may be low on lumber. I don't believe he has. No, he does not have a Goblin Shredder in his mix, but we know that Orc players often really just buy a lot of items from the Voodoo Lounge, which takes up, well, only gold and no lumber here. All right, turning back around, going to try and engage here. There's Unholy Frenzy. Farseer now sitting at level 3, going to turn around, engage against that Lich. Lich down to 170 hit points, has to be careful. Berserkers trying to close in on that distance and now moving very quickly out across the field here. Very fast movement speed and going after those units once again. Yeah, the reaction time, being able to control the army, it is all of those small things that really make a dramatic a difference in the overall portion of the game. I am sure I would have less than half the number of trolls if I was trying to implement this strategy. Or I would be pulling back trolls, and then when I look at them again, they back at home they have like 300 hit points. Where it's you either pull them back too early or you pull them back too late, both of which has ramifications for your own battles. Death Knight, well, Frostworm already here, Frost Nova going down, and this is a big change. What's up? All right, Undead with those nukes now, well, coming back around, able to get in some damage, and now we have a potential surround here. We are looking at a lot of Berserkers trying to poke down that Frostworm. Frostworm down to 359 hit points. A lot of that poke damage really taking its toll as the rest of those, well, rest of these skeletal warriors are getting taken out. Tauren Chieftain with Endurance are trying to, well, move its way through. And what is this? No fortified upgrades for the burrows. Burrow number 1 taken down. More burrows could get taken down, especially with the frost frost worms. Well, cold magic damage right there. Chain lightning looking to bounce around once again, trying to finish off that frostworm, but the frostworm gets away. Lich, not so much. He falls before the Scroll of Town Portal finishes. All right, Lich quickly resurrected at the tavern in the center portion of the map. Level 2 Lich doesn't cost too much gold to resurrect from there, and also making sure that the Lich is out onto the battlefield is just as important. Yeah, Frostworms are a bit of a surprise at this point in stage in the game, especially when you know your opponent is going mass Berserkers. Mass Berserkers definitely a scary sight against this Frostworm army that only has a range of 300. Yeah, you got to be careful with that. And with those Frostworms, they will easily get within range of those of these Berserkers here and may end up getting taken down far too quickly. All right, Scroll of Town Portal coming back around. What is this? Undead with the hit and run tactics as the Necromancer is now coming back across. Berserkers now making their way over. A couple more pokes coming in from the Berserkers there as we're looking at the units trying to retreat back. Frostworms moving around really quickly here. And what is this? Still no fortified upgrades. There goes one burrow again. Another burrow could get taken down. And, well, the burrows do, in fact, give experience. As long as the Lich doesn't fall for a second time in this hit-and-run tactic, it could actually be worth it, as the units are now trying to retreat back once more. All right, 3 burrows down. LawLiet finding himself supply block 49 over 32 supply. Will need to train up a lot more burrows in order to train up any units. And with that said, Orc players are often well, just buying a lot of items from their own shop. However, the problem is the amount of lumber Orc burrows take. We're going to see a large influx of gold, and yeah, we can even see all of the peons are off of gold right now and currently just trying to get lumber and get some wood in order to be able to build up more Orc burrows and perhaps get that fortified armor upgrade from that war mill. We are at Fortress, so yes, we know that it is available. Meanwhile, well, Rod of Necromancy, or not Rod of Necromancy, Skeletal Minions getting popped up right there. They do not have the upgrade that I would have expected them to have, just in order to get some ranged units as well. Perhaps he actually wants more melee units from the Rod of Necromancy. As now in comes an engagement. All right, there goes Frost Nova straight up onto a Berserker. Going to get it taken down. Chain Lightning bouncing around. Frostworm quickly going to get taken down. Tauren Chieftain sitting up at level 4. 4-4 going up against a 3-3 as one Frostworm looks to back away. More damage coming on through. Tauren Chieftain puts his foot down as Skeletal Minions come into the game stunned. as the game still raging on here. Lich now down to 200 hit points. Potion of invulnerability being used. Death Knight, oh no, sorry, Scroll of Town Portal being used. Death Knight still dancing around the situation there, as we see, I believe that was a scroll of healing across many of those orc units. What if orc build some secret burrows? And well, you have to find a way to get to those burrows in the wood is the question. 4,500 gold, and this is an interesting strategy here. LawLiet knows that he has plenty of gold, and instead of choosing not to mine from his expansion, he's actually choosing not to mine from his main base. The main base is much easier to defend, as we're looking at a haunted gold mine, trying to be completed. It looks like it will just simply get canceled here in just a moment. 52 supply compared to 50, and well, plenty of lumber still getting added in. Another orc burrow right here, and we are perhaps, yes, now finally seeing a goblin shredder amongst the units for LawLiet. Over here on the top left-hand side of the map, Lich picking up a potion of lesser invulnerability. Skeletal minions now trying to make their way over and put some pressure onto this expansion here once more, as we do see a handful of necromancers here, perhaps for that pop-up army to deal a bit more damage. I don't see any any spirit walkers for any sort of AoE disenchant. Burrows do have that fortified armor upgrade. Now hit and run tactics with necromancers and frostworms will fall a bit flat, as the bestiary or some of these other buildings could get pressured very quickly. Goblin Shredder quickly taken down, as that is a big loss right there. All right, going to go in for an engagement here. Death Whale onto the Farseer. Farseer could get taken down, and LawLiet loses a level 4 Farseer straight out of the gates. This is going to be a bad position once more. Frostworms, there's a Tauren Chieftain up into the air, but the Frostworm was able to get back away in time. Frostworm down to 600 hit points, as Lich now gets up to level 4. Without one of those heroes, though, that is a big back. However, the Tauren Chieftain seen that level 5 now with level 3 Stomp could still spell some problems. Necromancers getting picked apart by all of these units, but the Lich and the Death Knight trying to make sure to punish all of these mass headhunters as well, as they're falling slowly but surely. There goes another. There's another Stomp. Death Knight could be in trouble. Ring of Protection. Scroll of Town Portal finally being used. A big Frost Nova right there. One final shot. There goes another headhunter there, but a Necromancer is also lost amongst the units. 43 supply compared to 31. That Farseer loss really did set off a chain of reactions that allowed the battle to go in favor of TBCBM. Meanwhile, it looks as though with the help of obsidian statues, the units will just be able to join together once more. Lich now using that dark ritual to try and fill up that mana a little bit more aggressively. Once more, 41 supply compared to 50. TBCBM does have the supply lead, and there are also more workers out here onto the battlefield. And so far, LawLiet has been consistently having problems with lumber. Now finally getting up to 221 lumber. Does he have a new Goblin Shredder? No, he does not. But we are seeing a transition into Wind Riders to deal with the Frostworms. All right, battling things through. Death Knight in that front line spot. Frostworms, we are seeing Cripple onto the Wind Rider. Wind Rider with Cripple could easily get taken down. There it goes. Gives level 5 to the Death Knight. And, Necromancer's really just countering this strategy rather well. Frostworm needs to stay alive, get away from that Orc Burrow with all of that piercing damage. As the Death Knight continues this charge here, Potion of Lesser Invulnerability will keep that Tauren Chieftain alive. Tauren Chieftain also has the Kagar's Pipe of Insight for better mana regeneration as well. But the Farseer now back out here onto the battlefield should be healing up the Tauren Chieftain as we're going into this next fight. All right, in we go. Lich trying to cause a little bit of problems, making sure to slow down that Tauren Chieftain if it tries to land in an easy attack. And here we go. Death Knight going to look to engage. Tauren Chieftain down to 236 hit points. There is a quick stun right there. Healthstone being used, and Chain Lightning bouncing around. All right, once all of these units are down, Tauren Chieftain could have a very bad day trying to get away. Tauren Chieftain does end up falling, giving level 5 to the Lich. Lich now sitting at level 3 Frost Nova. Should be able to deal a bit more damage as well. There goes a big Frost. Farseer now trying to back away. Death Knight trying to close in on that distance. Obsidian statues right there. One more shot is going to do it. 2 level 5 heroes fallen, but that is a lot of Wind Riders and Headhunters to still try and deal with. All right, dual Shadow Wolves are right here. Ghouls trying to engage once more. Skeletal minions are just all around the map. What is going on? Why is TBCBM still in this battle, trying to figure out or focus down some of these units, as the Berserkers, playing a great game of micro, blocking the path here, as the Lich may now be forced to use a scroll or the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. obsidian statues now providing a bit of cover. 3 obsidian statues out here onto the battlefield, but only one of them of any real use. Old graphics. Definitely prefer old graphics. Even though the new graphics have a higher resolution, I actually find it takes away and detracts from the game. All right, Orb of Corruption onto the Death Knight. Now, in order to have air attacks here, obsidian statues nearly taken down by shadow wolves as they pop up and around. Are we going to perhaps be getting up some destroyers? Destroyer form upgrade should be available. That obsidian statue is the one that has a large amount of mana. This is going to be a major setback indeed. If this obsidian statue gets taken out, it's being sent and returned back home to try and, well, be repaired. Meanwhile, this expansion here is going to end up getting taken out, and that play to not mine from the main base for a little bit of time, that may be the saving grace, as that's going to prolong the amount of time that he's able to mine here. All right, Dark Ritual quickly being used. Lich up to 300 mana. Death Knight up to 200 mana. 2 obsidian statues, not much mana in between the two of them. As are we seeing an obsidian statue getting repaired? We should be, yeah. Obsidian statue quickly getting repaired by acolytes back at home. All right, Altar of Storms. Tauren Chieftain going to be popping on out here in just a moment and getting ready to engage. Repairs coming underway. Tauren Chieftain now out here onto the battlefield, and here we go. This could be the fight that decides the game. All right, Spirit, quick death of a Wind Rider right there. Tauren Chieftain getting purged, or getting able to fight a purge Death Knight. The Death Knight takes some bouncing damage as well. Death Knight trying to keep that distance. Death Coil saving that Lich, who's amongst a sea of units. Lich does not have the Orb of Corruption that belongs to the Death Knight. Death Knight is going to use Animate Dead here. This could actually be an interesting scenario to use Animate Dead. No, should not use Animate Dead. The Necromancers themselves have been picking up some of those skeletal, or using all of those corpses that are on the ground, so it is not useful. By TBCBM to go for level 3 Unholy Aura. For a split moment, I thought that Animate Dead could have been the better call, better ability, until I realized the Necromancers have been doing too good of a job cleaning up. Acolytes now mining at this haunted gold mine over here on the bottom right-hand side of the map. Death Knight sitting at level 6, Lich sitting at level 5. Still needs a bit more mana. Are we going to be looking at level 2 Dark Ritual? That would be an interesting call indeed. A level 2 Dark Ritual giving even more mana to the Lich straight out of the gate. However, the Tauren Chieftain is also very close to level 6 as well. Now, one of the things that often happens in an orc game is the Tauren Chieftain gets to level 6 and then the orc wins. As I study replays and I study what's happening, oftentimes the Tauren Chieftain getting to level 6, yes, it is a very big effect being able to get that reincarnation, but getting a hero ultimate ability, or being able to do enough damage to your opponent's army to get to level 6, could also be a major factor as well. So there is no way to know for certain what is in fact the cause of the win. What I will say is that getting that Tauren Chieftain to level 6 does cause an immediate power spike in the effectiveness of that orc army. Meanwhile, it looks as though Orb of Lightning from that Tauren Chieftain, now Cloak of Flames. That Tauren Chieftain with the Cloak of Flames and also with Stomp could end up dealing terrible damage quite easily. Yeah, it does, I believe, 10 damage a second. Not quite as effective as Wand of Lightning Shield, but that item is just permanently on there, but it could be sold as well. Yep, quickly sold for a potion of invulnerability, as he wants to keep that Tauren Chieftain alive. Good morning, Burrow Rush. Over here on the bottom right-hand side of the map, there is even a shade being placed down by TBCBM to make sure that, Shadow Wolves who try to make their way over are quickly going to be spotted. There it is, spotted, trying to make its way in right there. Ziggurat is also there as well, trying to split the attack between the two would be good micro. Meanwhile, back off to the center portion of the map, well, no additional heroes. Frankie1219, thank you for the follow. All right, Shadow Wolves and now trying to chase after these units. Acolytes need to make their way back down, back on Blight. Better regeneration as the Ziggurat is going to be coming into position. And the Spirit Tower will be able to deter and detract. Great Hall being placed down by LawLiet to try and re-establish mining. Meanwhile, in comes the engagement here. Quick damage once more. Shade finds all of this, giving level 6 to the Lich. Death and Decay now available for that Lich. That channeled damage onto a building to shut down a Great Hall. Are we going to see this game end in epic fashion as we also see a Dark Ranger added in for silence? Oh, that could spell some serious problems. Once more, there goes an ensnare under the Dark Ranger. Here we are. There's the engagement as we see a quick Death Coil Frost Nova onto the Tauren Chieftain a silence there. Dark Ranger now trying to move its way back. Tauren Chieftain now shaking off that silence. However, may just try and rinse and repeat that again as we're also looking at the Frost Worms being able to get in some big damage. Tauren Chieftain silenced once more. Frost Nova goes down. Tauren Chieftain and Death Coil trying to save that Frost Worm again as the Tauren Chieftain does finally land a big stomp. Level 6 now on the Tauren Chieftain. Is it enough to stop as the Tauren Chieftain is back out here onto the battlefield? Are we going to see a silence going down once again? The Tauren Chieftain trying to maneuver around, get into position. There is a giant stomp once more. Death Knight needs to Death Coil that Dark Ranger back up to a full hit point heal. 53 supply compared to 28. LawLiet's Tauren Chieftain is at level 6. Farseer sitting at level 5, but the army is just melting around them as the Undead sitting at 46 supply compared to 19. All right, Farseer falls at level 5. I believe Dark Ranger gets up to level 2, and that is going to be the game. Even a level 6 Tauren Chieftain with Reincarnation will not be able to cover that one. TBCBM taking down LawLiet with some impressive gameplay, going for Frost Worms straight out of the gate, catching LawLiet completely off guard. LawLiet, first time getting caught without fortified armor on those Orc burrows, losing 1, maybe 2, if I recall. That was totally a great play coming in from TBC BM. Second time, though, LawLiet forgot to upgrade, losing an additional 3 Orc burrows and really offsetting LawLiet's game plan as he just didn't have that much lumber. He had, I believe, 13, 14 workers on 2 bases, so he only had 3 workers on lumber and, wasn't able to bounce back that quickly. By the time he got a Goblin Shredder to try and make up ground, the Frostworms pretty much did a triple icy blast against that Goblin Shredder, able to shut it down as well. So really a lot of crucial small moments in that game, which ultimately gave the victory and the win to TBCBM. Let me know what you guys think about that game in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.